Two men in tactical vests aimed their weapons at me, demanding access to my home. In 60 seconds, they lost control of everything. I stood in the doorway, the familiar weight of the frame under my palm. Two strangers filled my porch, dressed in gear that screamed official, but their eyes told a different story. Polished costumes, unsteady hands. Their vests were emblazoned with association security. "Move," the one on the right barked. "Emergency compliance sweep. We need to clear the premises." I held my ground. "What's the legal basis?" No answer came, just the deliberate shift of a gun barrel until it lined up with my center mass. "You are obstructing," he stated. That's when the facade cracked. This wasn't about safety, it was a shakedown, and their fatal error was thinking I'd be an easy mark. Before we get into how this unfolded, let me know where you are in the world. Put your country in the comments below. To understand this armed confrontation, you need the lead-up. I value my peace. I moved here for the quiet. I'm not a troublemaker. I'm a reader. I study governing documents. A few months after I arrived, a new notice appeared, the Community Welfare Entry Provision. It claimed the board could authorize interior inspections of any property deemed a risk with no prior notice or warrant. My offense? Installing a security camera with a clear view of the street. They called it a visual intrusion. I knew it captured their irregular patrols and late-night visits to other homes. My response was a formal, documented letter. I cited property law. I demanded the voting record for this new provision. The response was not from a lawyer. It was from the board chair, Robert Vance. A terse email. "Compliance is mandatory. Prepare for inspection." Then the campaign of unease began. Official warnings slipped under the door. An unmarked van appeared nightly. Neighbors confided in hushed tones that they'd just handed over spare keys to make it stop. I did not. So they escalated to this: 2 armed men on my welcome mat. "Deactivate the camera system," the left one ordered, "then provide a key for association safekeeping." I met his gaze evenly. "You have no lawful power here." He gave a cold, short laugh. "We have all the power we need." He raised his pistol to a full aim. My breathing stayed even. Years of training transform adrenaline into a sharp, clear focus. I noted the distance, the unsteady grip, the flimsy porch railing behind them. "You've miscalculated," I said, my voice low. At that moment, the dispute over cameras and keys vanished. It became a simple equation of survival. And before the next 5 minutes passed, they would pay a steep price for their arrogance. His index finger whitened on the trigger. My mind went quiet, all noise replaced by pure tactical clarity. I saw the nervous tick in his partner's posture, the way he looked ready to bolt. 2 firearms, minimal skill, 1 very confined space. I didn't speak. I moved. As his barrel dipped a fraction, I stepped inside his reach. My left arm hammered his wrist outward. A gunshot ripped the air, the round embedding itself in the door jamb by my shoulder. A uniform is just a costume until it's tested. My hands worked without conscious thought. A brutal twist, a sharp crack of bone. He screamed. The gun hit the wooden deck. His partner flinched, raising his own weapon in a panicked 2-handed grip. I shoved the first man hard into the railing, snatched the fallen pistol, and dropped to a knee. Acquire target. I fired once. The bullet tore through the second man's calf. He shrieked, collapsing against the steps, his weapon skittering away. The first assailant charged, one arm dangling. I pivoted and drove the pistol's grip into his temple. He dropped, motionless. I took a steadying breath and scanned. No backup, just 2 defeated men and the sound of my own heartbeat slowing. The wounded one was moaning, clutching his leg. "Stop, please." I said, "Show me your hands," tone devoid of emotion. "Who ordered this?" He shook, tears mixing with sweat. "Robert, Robert Vance, the chairman, he said you were disruptive. We were just to secure compliance. Disruptive for understanding my rights. I kicked both firearms into the shrubbery and called the police. 2 armed intruders neutralized at my residence. Self-defense. Send officers and paramedics. He looked up, bewildered. We didn't think you'd... You didn't think, I finished for him. The distant wail of sirens grew closer, a symphony announcing the end of their charade. Their borrowed authority had just expired. The police arrived with swift, controlled precision. They secured the perimeter, tended to the wounded men. An officer approached me, his hand resting near his own sidearm. Are you hurt? Are you armed? Unhurt. The weapons are in the bushes, I said, gestures slow and deliberate. He requested identification. I offered my driver's license with my military ID beneath it. He looked from the cards to my face, his expression shifting to one of grim understanding. Forces background? He asked. Former, I acknowledged. He gave a curt nod. All right, stand over here, please. We'll get your statement. The men were loaded, one into a cruiser, the other into an ambulance, still muttering about just following orders. Every neighbor's phone, every officer's body cam was a witness. This documentation was crucial, because the next phase wasn't about the fight, it was about the paper trail. By morning, investigators were dissecting the HOA's records. They found the entry provision had never been legally enacted. No votes, no filings, but it had been used as a tool. Dozens of keys had been collected, homes had been entered, reports of missing jewelry, cash, netizens had been filed and then dismissed by the board. Robert Vance didn't want compliance, he wanted a criminal enterprise. These security officers were his burglars in cheap uniforms. My refusal wasn't an inconvenience, it was an existential threat to his scheme. That's why he sent armed intimidation. Robert was arrested at his office 2 days later. The charges were numerous: conspiracy, fraud, solicitation of burglary, abuse of authority. He took a plea bargain, 11 years in prison, significant financial restitution, and a lifetime ban from any property management role. His hired hands faced justice. The one I shot suffered permanent nerve damage. He pled guilty to aggravated assault and received an 8-year sentence. His unconscious partner got 6. My actions were ruled justified self-defense. No charges. The bullet hole in the door frame was filled and painted over. The neighborhood exhaled. That pervasive tension finally gone. Power built on fear collapses at the first sign of courage. Now, when I turn the deadbolt, I'm reminded of a fundamental truth. Illegitimate authority is a hollow shell. It cannot withstand someone who knows their ground and refuses to be moved. If you stand for holding a line against corruption, show it. Hit the like button for Winds of Thought. It tells YouTube this is a story worth amplifying.